why do I feel like shit? And why this and why that when I'm eating 13 servings of vegetables a day and oatmeal and egg whites and just living on it, right? And you know what, Dave, man? I started to look into the bulletproof diet that you came up with, and I took aspects of that. And then I told my wife one day, I said, "You know what? I am done. I can't do this anymore. I'm miserable." And I started following a lot of what you had in there, and I mixed some of my own stuff in there. And I went from 1,700 calories a day to now 2,700, and fat from like 20 grams of fat to 130, and I'm thriving, like thriving. And I'm embarrassed to even talk that I was doing this, but I'm happy to help people and say what you said was right.
Dylan, do you know how rare of a human you are? You
Mm.
have more than a decade invested in an identity and a mindset and a belief. And scientists at big universities do the same thing. And then you had the balls and the audacity to say, oh my God, maybe some of my assumptions are wrong. And instead of feeling threatened, like, I guess I'll try it. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons that Bulletproof and the Bulletproof coffee became so famous, by the way, I am not at Bulletproof anymore. Danger Coffee is my new coffee company, Danger, because who knows what you might do. But the reason it became such a big deal is, you know that you go to a Tony Robbins event and there's those hot coals, you're going to walk on coals. In that first step, you're like, I'm going to die. The first time that I came back from Tibet where I had yak butter tea and I took a big old hunk of butter and I put it in a blender, it was like walking on hot coals. I'd been a vegan. I'd been a raw vegan. Everyone had told me butter would kill me, but all of the science, all the longevity nonprofit work I'd done, it led to a different conclusion. I said, I'm just going to try this for a little while. And I put it in there. I tested a bunch of different recipes. When I got it dialed in, everyone who drank it would feel amazing, but they'd always feel like they were going to die the first time they put that hunk of butter in there. It was like a step into the unknown. It's like you're risking your life. You weren't. You're actually helping. And the fact you could do it as someone who was really in the anti-fat camp, that says a lot about your willingness to question everything and to be truthful. So congratulations, man. And by the way, extra 1,000 calories a day. I had the same experience. I had this weird time where I said, I know I've learned fat doesn't make you fat, not the way they say. And some fat does make you fat. Each fat does different things. But
Right.
I went on an early version. I was kind of stress testing the Bulletproof diet before I was willing to publish it. So I was doing 4,500 plus calories a day. And I was just going to do this for a month. I'm like, I'm going to set myself up less than 5 hours of sleep every night, no exercise, and 4,500 calories a day. I'm going to do it for a month. The math says I should gain 20 pounds or something, and I'm only going to gain 1 or 2 or something. I grew up. I actually felt great. I did it for months. And overfeeding is not good for longevity. I don't recommend anybody do that. You know, conservation of energy and Newton's law, all of Newtonian physics is bullshit. The reality runs at quantum level. Newtonian physics is just a story that fits pretty well about reality, but it is not an accurate story. And I love to take the trolls, the calories in, calories out, diehards. They're doing it like a religion. And I say, oh, if you're going to get fat, eat a gram of uranium. That's more than 1 million calories. And they go, but you can't digest uranium. I go, do we need to keep going? And then they go, well, that's not fair. Okay. How about this? Did you know that there's a drug that ranchers give to cows that's an extract of toxic mold that makes cows get fat on 30% less calories? They go, no. Well, okay. It's called Zeranol. It's an extract of a mold toxin that's 10,000 times stronger than human estrogen. And it grows in houses. But if this mold can exist and it's a drug that ranchers spend tens of millions of dollars a year on because they have to buy less corn, you're going to tell me calories in, calories out still a thing?
Right.
And the only way you can still do that is if you're one of those people who's like, you know, if you say what I don't like, the Lord will strike you down from heaven with a stick of rice cake, or I don't even know what's going on with those people, but they're not sane.
No, I agree. The calorie bros, they're out in the wild, and this all calories are equal and all of this. And I tell people, you're telling me that if I put this in this hand and this in this hand, these French fries that are 200 calories and this 200 calorie piece of chicken, they're the same thing. And I'm just lost as to how they're the same.
It's funny too, because as a bodybuilder, give someone 100 grams a day of soy protein, 100 grams a day of whey or beef protein, and you tell me who's going to have bitch tits.
Right. 100%. I couldn't agree more. This shit that people get on, it's confounding to me, and it's easy to fall into that trap, which we all have, but when you start questioning things and doing things on your own and seeing how they work, it's amazing. And one of the things that you're big on that I am now big on is animal proteins. And I want to know why for you. I mean, I know why, but I want the audience to hear why the animal proteins are so beneficial and so important and why they've been stigmatized.
Ooh, well, the why, we're gonna have to go into some theories that I cannot prove or disprove.
That's okay.
I think I know why. And why are they better? They're better because they work better, because of digestibility and amino acid availability.
Mm-hmm.
And you see these poor, sad, weak bone density vegans, and they're like, beans and rice are a complete protein. Even if you extract the proteins from the beans and the rice, you're going to need an awful lot of it. And it still doesn't work as well. The very best plant proteins are 30% less available than animal proteins. Animal proteins have more minerals, more vitamins, and they don't come with toxins. And all of the plant proteins come with high amounts of heavy metals. They come, if they're naturally whole foods packaged, they come with a huge amount of mineral depletion, oxalates, sometimes histamines, lectins, and omega-6 fats, and a boatload of carbs. So you just can't do it. And saying something is true doesn't make it true. And you go to India, where everyone's vegetarian, not vegan, not everyone, but many people, and when they're eating their traditional diet, full of ghee with some coconut oil and lassi, which is full fat dairy, and butter and eggs, which are in many of the dishes. Oh, they're eating a high saturated fat diet with some protein, right? They don't have obesity. They don't have high blood pressure. They don't have diabetes. It's the introduction of American seed oils and the exclusion of saturated fat, particularly stearic acid, that leads to these problems.